Hi everyone, and welcome back. In the previous video, we looked at API 312.4MV versus Scarlett 2 i2 preamp, and some of interesting results came out of it. Today we're going one step further. We're simply asking whether we can design an experiment that answers the question a little more precisely. So let's dive in. This time we are expanding the range of equipment quite a bit. Instead of testing just one Neve-style preamp, we're looking at several different designs. The Neve 8801, the AMS 1073, the BAE 1073, and the Rupert Neve Shelford channel. And every one of them will be compared against exactly the same reference interface, the original Scarlett 2 i2. Before running any experiment, it's important to understand the question we're actually trying to answer. Jim asked whether microphone preamps sound the same. He also talked about whether any differences are actually audible and whether all this talk about Neve warmth is really true. Those are interesting questions, but they're actually different questions, and they each need slightly different experiments. According to Jim's own description, these were the devices included in his testing. There's a good mix of professional equipment and entry-level gear, and that's completely reasonable. However, he doesn't necessarily test all the Neve variants and overgeneralizes based on his findings. We also think the experimental methodology is just as important as the list of equipment itself. One thing we really like is that Jim didn't rely only on listening. He also used ABX testing, REW, plug-in doctor, and an oscilloscope. Those are excellent engineering tools. Where we think there are still open questions is around the exact recording setup, especially how the microphone signal was split. Small details like that can influence the outcome more than people often realize. Another challenge is reproducibility. As engineers, we'd ideally like enough information that someone else could repeat exactly the same experiment and compare results. That's not criticism. It's simply one of the foundations of scientific testing. Based on his testing, Jim concluded that the preamps sounded essentially the same and even questioned the idea that Neve are warm. That's a very strong conclusion. Our question is whether the amount of testing performed is enough to support a conclusion that broad. So let's reset everything. Rather than debating opinions, let's build an experiment that isolates one variable at a time. Instead of asking lots of different questions at once, let's focus on one very specific question. The question is simple. At each gain setting of a microphone preamp, can we actually hear a difference compared with the reference Scarlett interface? Once the question is clearly defined, the methodology almost designs itself. Every decision from this point onwards is simply about removing as many uncontrolled variables as possible. The objective isn't to prove one preamp is better than another. It's to characterize what changes, both audibly and measurably, as the gain increases. Everything else should stay as constant as possible. We're also narrowing the scope. We're looking specifically at close-mic'd snare drum transients. We are not claiming these results automatically apply to vocals, guitars, or bass guitar. They're specific to this experiment. Here's how the setup works. One microphone is split into two signal paths. One path always goes to the Scarlett reference. The other goes through the preamp under test. Both signals are recorded simultaneously, so the only intentional variable is the preamp itself. This diagram shows the idea in its simplest form. One drum hit, one microphone, two recording paths. That means both recordings capture exactly the same acoustic event. Preamp signals is recorded through the Apollo into Logic. Scarlett is recorded through its own USB interface into Logic. This lets us compare them immediately without worrying about differences in performance or timing. For every gain setting on the preamp under test, a new recording is made. The gain changes and the output trim is adjusted so we don't overload the converters. Other than that, nothing changes. Every gain setting is treated as its own independent measurement. Because louder almost always sounds better to our ears, every recording is normalized afterwards using LUFS. This isn't changing the sound, it's simply removing loudness bias, so we're comparing tone rather than volume. This is where we think the methodology becomes much stronger. The same snare hit is captured simultaneously by both recording paths. That removes one of the biggest variables in analog audio, performance variability. The Scarlett isn't acting as an absolute reference instrument. It's simply giving us a reference for every individual snare strike. No experiment is perfect. A parallel splitter loads the microphone slightly. Output trims have to change. Different game settings require different performances. But these limitations are understood, they're documented, and they remain consistent throughout each measurement. It's also important to understand what this experiment is not trying to do. We are not attempting to produce absolute specifications for these preamps. We are simply investigating whether meaningful audible differences appear as the game changes. One detail that often gets overlooked is the microphone splitter. Not all splitters behave the same way. The Clark Technic unit we are using is simply a passive parallel wiring arrangement. A transformer isolated splitter would behave differently, and that could influence the results. At this point, we've defined the question and explained the methodology. Now it's time for the interesting part. Before we start listening, we would like to make one thing clear. The Scarlett 2 i2 isn't a bad interface. It's actually excellent value for the money, but it's designed for home hobby projects, not as a studio and mastering grade reference device. That's an important distinction. Let's listen. I'd like to finish with one thought. Better preamps don't make you a better musician. Great songs have been recorded on modest equipment, and amazing performances will always matter more than expensive hardware. But professional equipment can preserve a little more of what the musician actually played. It doesn't create inspiration. It simply gets out of the way and lets more of that inspiration reach the recording. Thanks everyone for listening. Please like and subscribe, and we hope to see you in the next demo.